Hey everybody, welcome to the show. Because this is the first one in a particular series we're going to be putting together, I think we can start off with something a little bit basic. And a question that often gets asked or comment that often gets made is, I want to write. I want to put something together. Maybe it's a book, maybe it's a series of articles, maybe I want to put a blog together. I want to write about my life, the things that I've done, the things I've been up to, some of the tragedies, some of the happy stuff, some of the sad stuff. But every time I sit down and I open up a fresh document, I end up just staring at that screen, not knowing where to go, not knowing what to do. And maybe I type a few words here, maybe I type a few words there. But after a while, I run out of steam and I run out of ideas, and what can I do about that? And listen, I get it, okay? I've spent many anxious hours staring at a blank screen, be it for my own stuff, be it professionally when I'm working with a client. And it really is not as easy as it sounds. Most of the time, if you ask a bunch of writers and you say, hey, so how do I do this? You're going to get this usual thing. You know, they're going to nod sagely into their double decaf soy latte and they're going to say, hey, man, you just have to write here. You need to find your creative center here, or the earth mother, or your muse, or insert appropriate useless tactic here. So let's step out of that trendy coffee shop for a moment and let's step into the real world. Now, I've spent a lot of anxious hours staring at screens, watching the clock tick, and nothing seems quite as disastrous as the sound that a deadline makes when it goes whooshing on by. So, here are 5 things that I do that help me, and that will probably help you if you follow these to the letter. It doesn't matter whether it's a series of articles you want to do, whether it's a blog, whether it's something really big like a novel. You've got this big idea in your head, but you don't know where to start. And while I can't promise you your creative center, and I'm really bad at double decaf soy lattes, what I can do is I can write in a pinch. I can write when I have to, I can do it on the fly, and I can do it with deadlines looming. And that's because I've worked out something that works for me and has worked for many other people as well. And I know this is something that's going to work for you. But guys, please, more important than that, just have fun with the process, okay? If you're not having fun with the process, if you don't love the hours of thought that goes into it beforehand, that nervous little moment before you press send to send it off to a client or to an editor or a reader, someone that you've identified to look over your stuff and tell you what they think, and that the exhilaration of the aftermath when you see stuff coming through, you get comment back, then perhaps you're in the wrong game. But I don't think you're in the wrong game, because you've been asking the right questions. It was the best of times, it was the worst of times. That is probably one of the most popular, most common opening lines. Whenever someone says, what is the best opening line of all time in a novel? That's the one you get. It's from A Tale of Two Cities, and it's okay if classical literature is your thing. I've got 2 I particularly like. Number 2. The man in black fled across the desert, and the gunslinger followed. That's a Stephen King one. That's from his 20-year epic, The Dark Tower. It's really great. I love it. My number 1 favorite is from a Terry Pratchett book. The moon hung above the land like a giant ball of rock. Kills me every time. I love it. And it's really difficult to get that in a pinch sometimes. To get that opening line, the one thing that makes it all right. And so what people tend to do, and I know because I've done it before and lots of other people do it, you stare at your blank page, you say, right, we need an opening line, what's it going to be? And you rack your head, you type a few lines, you backspace, and before you know it, you've done absolutely nothing because you've tried to chase this mystical dragon that is the one perfect opening line. You can't beat some of them, so don't try it. Here's my advice. Start in the middle. Don't decide right this second. While the first line is important, it's not a deal breaker, not at this point in time. You're starting out, okay? So start somewhere else. Maybe start in the middle of a chapter, maybe start somewhere else. Hey, maybe your chapter 3 becomes your chapter 1. You don't know, it's happened. And as you work forward in the story, you're going to find yourself better equipped to work backwards as well, filling in all the blanks as you go along. And one day you're going to write something and you'll say, there, that's the one. That's the one I want. That's the opening line. I'm going to take that, I'm going to shove it to the front. Everything just makes sense. You'll copy to that to the front. You'll fill in the gaps. You'll work out the little plot holes. Now you're sorted, and you'll go for it. A book is not a Hollywood movie, okay? A movie has the ability to start with like a massive and explosive scene, and then it fills in all the blanks. It's not so easy with a book. If you start with a book with a huge event, with some awe-inspiring piece of literary genius that blows everyone's socks right the hell off, you end up having to keep up that pace for the remainder of that book. And so many people go big at the beginning and then have a second chapter that falls flat. Nothing annoys a reader more than a proverbial bucket of water first thing in the morning, okay? So start with a small mystery and build to a bigger one. Don't give it all up straight away. That big hook that you planned at the beginning is hard to live up to. So cut yourself some slack and start small. I always start with a working title. It gives me a vague idea as to the direction I want to go in. My first book, for example, was The Harvest Festival, and halfway through it became The Organ Grinder's Monkey. In the same way, my second one, When the Bell Tolls, halfway through became The Flat Earth Club. So by all means, don't harp on it, but pick something, okay? Do something that says, this is kind of sort of the direction I want to go in. It will give you a name to pick in the middle of the night when you're doubting it. It will give you something to mention in conversation. You will quickly find out whether the placeholder, because really a name at this point in the game is really just a placeholder, okay? You'll quickly know whether that placeholder is the right one for that book and whether it's the right one for you. We may not be able to choose our names, but we can choose the names of our stories, okay? Shock horror. I don't use elaborately designed or laid out plots. I write as I speak and as I think. Apparently, that works for me. Sometimes I have a decent idea of where I'm going, and sometimes I don't. But I don't make the mistake of writing that all down and turning it into some kind of plan. Some writers do, and some writers need to. Some, like me, prefer to let that develop and make up that story as we go along. In The Organ Grinder's Monkey, for example, I had an idea of an event, a set of circumstances that I wanted my characters to experience. And I let them experience that, and I allowed the story to develop as it moved along. If this, then that. If Joe went home, what did he do? When he woke up, what did he discover? When Sally knocked, what did she say? Keep it real, keep it relevant, avoid the ghost in the machine, and see where it goes. I've been surprised by my own endings every time, so don't sweat it too much. Number 5, and the final one. Practice, like most things, makes perfect. I try to write 1,000 words a day. Now you may say to yourself, that's impossible, but you would be wrong. Think about it. In a normal font with a normal size, 1,000 words is, it's only a couple of pages, really. And when you're in the throes and when the world gets blocked out and everything just flows for you, you'll be 2,500 words down in no time before you even realize it. But right now, at the beginning, my advice is to aim for time, okay? So aim for 20 minutes a day's worth of writing. If you can do 20 minutes a day, go for 30. 30 will quickly become 40, 40 will quickly become an hour, and 1,000 words isn't really far away from that, okay? If it's not your own project that you're working on right at this moment in time, then pick something, okay? Write about something, write about your life, write about things that have happened in the day. Go back to something that happened in your past, something interesting, something sad, something tragic, something cool, something that you really want people to hear about, and then write about that. Write about that, and when you've done that, post it somewhere, okay? Facebook's a good place to do that. Post it. Have fun with your story, embellish it, lie a little. Stay true to the events, sure, but color in the details a little bit, okay? Post that story for other people to read. Use it like your personal little venting space. People will read it. They will probably like it, And the positive affirmation that you get back from that will only spur you on. But just do it.